blue one? You don't need that blue one? That's got 2 dead ends.
Probably not. Let's see.
Cable fest going on there.
Yeah, totally. Totally cable fest. Right, I think that we're almost there. All right. How's it going? All right. Can people at home hear me? I'm sending a smoke signal. Can you hear me? Raise your flag. Soft again, very faint. Very faint. All right. What's the difference between this and this? Is this better now? Can you hear me better? Is it still faint or soft or barely?
Pretty soft. Yeah, still soft.
Soft, barely. Carrie, maybe you can a bit still soft. Carrie, I wonder if you can maybe up your volume. A bit still soft. Other people, I can hear pretty well. It's up. All right. I'll start with that and see how it goes. Yeah. All right. So I wonder input volume, this one? Well, it doesn't let me adjust it. All right, just automatically. All right.
It's better if you use if we use headphones. I think it's louder.
Test mic, test mic, test mic, test mic. Input level is low, 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 low. I want to make it up. Sorry. Yeah, that's the speaker. I'm looking at the microphone. I want to check the mic. All right, let's see how. Well, I suggest that we do maybe a recitation of the Hot Sutra, check it out through the recitation of the Hot Sutra, and then work it out from there. We turned them on in the morning just because people were complaining in the morning that it's soft, so we try to up it. We didn't have any feedback. Yeah. Yeah. I think we didn't have any feedback in the morning, so it was all right. All right. I prostrate to the eye of Triple Gem. Thus did I hear it one time. The Bhagavan was dwelling on a massive Vajra mountain together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in concentration on categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then, through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that in the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom, should look upon like this correctly and repeatedly beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, composition of factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composition of factors, no consciousness. No eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element and so on up to including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extension of ignorance, and so on up to including no aging and death and no extension of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on the well and perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly completely awaken to the unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of the great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering shall be known as the truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared, Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as you have indicated, even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan, having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, and those surrounding in their entirety, along with the worlds of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the highest assembly. From the accumulations that I collect by listening to the teachings, may I attain the state of a Buddha to be able to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the highest assembly. From the accumulations that I collect by listening to the teachings, may I attain the state of a Buddha to be able to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the highest assembly. From the accumulations that I collect by listening to the teachings, may I attain the state of a Buddha to be able to benefit all sentient beings. All right, people at home, how did it go?
Okay.
Okay.
Jason.
Okay.
Jason.
Okay.
All right, so I thought of what we can do today. I'll speak for a few minutes with this mic. Then I'm gonna change to the previous mic, this one. After that, I will listen to the YouTube recording, and also you guys listen at home and see if there's difference or not. Anyway, so I prepared a couple of things today. Thought of going through the verses that we've covered today. Just look at the structure and the line of reasoning that Shantideva used, including what Geshe-la said. Also to look at one or two secondary offenses. I'm wondering if Geshe-la's explanation in the morning about the subject matter, the purpose, the underlying purpose, and the connections, are they clear to you? Do they make sense?
We did a bit of that in the discussion group with Choki, Venerable Choki.
All right. All right. So let's start with first of all a couple of examples of texts. So we spoke about the Hot Sutra in the morning, right? So the subject matter is, as Tupten pointed out, it is emptiness. The purpose of the text is to realize emptiness, or to help us to realize emptiness. So through studying the Hot Sutra, we want to realize emptiness.
Wait a minute, Will.
Is
Just
it that our end goal is just to realize emptiness? I mean, is that the only purpose of the Hot Sutra? Just to realize emptiness? Sorry? We are here for everyone, and therefore what we want to do with our realization of emptiness is to use that in order to at the end attain the state of enlightenment. So to progress along the stairs of the path to become Buddha. So in that sense, that's the underlying purpose. So we have the subject matter emptiness, the purpose to realize emptiness, the underlying purpose so that we can use that to realize emptiness. So that we can use that in order to become Buddha. So the connection is the subject matter, emptiness. Sorry, I'll say it again. The connections. The purpose to realize emptiness depends upon the subject matter, teaching on emptiness. The underlying purpose, attaining the state of enlightenment, depends upon the purpose, which is to realize emptiness. Therefore, the latter ones depend upon the earlier ones. Yeah, so I'll just repeat that for the people at home. So to realize emptiness, you need to contemplate again and again and again what is expressed in the subject matter in the Hot Sutra, for example, emptiness. So what about if you were to apply the same thing to the Lamrim Chenmo? What's the purpose of, what's the subject matter of the Lamrim Chenmo? The graduated path to enlightenment. What's the purpose?
To reach enlightenment.
So to understand how you practice it as one individual, that's one way. Other ways of expressing the purpose, adding to the purpose, retracting from it, changing it, have all the realizations of the Lamrim. Yeah, I would maybe posit it like that. So you could say to realize the steps of the path to enlightenment. Yeah, the steps of the path to enlightenment. Or you can say, you can state it in different ways. So the steps of the path of the three scopes being. That's one way. Or the steps of the path to enlightenment. That's another way. Of course, they're not contradictory. They're not different. You can elaborate on that, or you can say that quite briefly. The steps of the path of the three scopes being is what the text expresses. The purpose is to realize the steps of the path to enlightenment. To realize them, it's not just to understand them outside, because there are different modes of realization. So you can realize emptiness, which means that you have your mind, let's say, on this side, and then emptiness is on the other side, like emptiness of another object. You can also realize the emptiness of your own mind, but I can also realize the emptiness of camera, the emptiness of Dechen, the emptiness of table, the emptiness of parrot, or what have you. So that's one way of realizing things, but you can also realize something in a way of giving rise to a certain aspect. Like, for example, to realize compassion, is basically to generate compassion in our mind. So we don't often say we want to realize compassion. We will say we want to give rise to compassion, right? So to cause realization of the steps of the path of enlightenment is not just to realize what they are, but also to give rise to them in our mind stream. That's the purpose. That's the purpose, to give rise to the steps of the path of enlightenment. So what's the underlying purpose then? Enlightenment, liberation or enlightenment. You can also say that there are and then the connection. So how would you explain the connection?
It all fits together to form a useful teaching that we can adopt in our daily lives.
So meditate on the steps of the path of enlightenment again and again until you develop a perceptual realization of those stages, so that it depends upon that you will become a Buddha. That's the way that you would say that. Other ways of saying that? To have a realization of the paths and grounds. People at home? Sorry? It's a big term. I think that it can be understood on different levels. Yeah. Now, the way that I would express that, and again, it's not to say that I'm right and you're wrong. No, we can come up with ways of expressing that, and we can combine all of them together. So, the way that I would express that is to the connection is to attain a state of enlightenment. You need to realize and give rise to the states of the path of enlightenment, as explained by Lama Tsongkhapa's text, the Lamrim Chenmo, that explained the steps of the path of the three scopes being. So this is how you kind of package it all together. Again, if you will look at the patience chapter, just the patience chapter within Shantideva's Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life, how do you apply those 4 features to it? The subject matter is patience. The purpose, to perfect the perfection of patience. Say it again, please. The purpose. To maintain a joyous, spacious mind. So Olaf saying that just hearing long silences makes it difficult to follow. So I'm wondering, Olaf, if you're hearing me speaking, because if you're hearing me speaking, I'm repeating what people are saying. So there are silences when I listen to what they say, but I also repeat what they say. So are you, Olaf, can you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can hear what you're saying there, Katzen. Hello, can you hear me? I can hear you quite clearly.
Not yet. Can other people hear me? Oh, yes, people say yes. All right. So the purpose of the chapter on patience, so to maintain a joyous and spacious state of mind, to perfect patience, I would say also, yes, but your voice goes in and out. Can hear, but fuzzy. All right. I'll try to switch to the other mic and then see if it's better. it's this. Thank you.
When you push it, then I get to turn this off.
Yeah, I'll turn it off. Okay. All right. Sorry, not speaking about this. Can you hear me now? Yes, loud and clear. Very well. All right, so we'll continue with that, with this mic today and probably tomorrow, loud and clear. Don't you love me now today? All right. So I'm just an attention seeker. Okay, I'm awake. I've enlightened you, Eva. Okay, so the purpose of the patience chapter is to perfect patience, to create a joyous and spacious state of mind. I would say similar thing to practice patience, to arrest anger, to put a stop to anger. What's the underlying purpose? To attain enlightenment. To progress along the Bodhisattva ground. Eva is saying practicing patience help rid of afflictions and accumulate merit, which in turn leads to enlightenment with realizing emptiness. Stop negative karma. Then we can probably combine many of the things into the underlying purpose. So we want to put a stop to anger. We want to practice patience because we want to practice the perfection of patience as part of the 6 perfections, which means that we want to create the part of patience that will lead us to the state of enlightenment. In so doing, we want to put a stop to negativities. We therefore also reduce our afflictive states of mind. We reduce the factors that damage our accumulation of merit and so forth. All of this can be included within the underlying purpose. How do you connect all these bits together?
I guess you would do it something along the line by being aware that when anger arises is an opportunity for practicing patience, which is not responding in an angry way, that behaving like a block of wood or withdrawing yourself or etc., so on and so on.
And so on, etc. and so forth.
In some ways, this is what I really like about this 4-point analysis, is that it really does act as a good basis of analysis. Because I think, as we're pointing out, there is no right or wrong. There is a wrong, but the right is a bit broad. And it can mean, it can slightly mean something different. But, to analyze it, it's a good way of, I like it.
It's a good way of also assessing what we do, I think, in our study, because, we, at least in the advanced study program, we study for a few months each topic, or this topic will last for 1.5 years. We're still yet to complete. We will complete the concentration or absorption chapter next year. I don't know if we'll complete joyous effort in this year. So it's a big topic. Also, we study tenets, logic, sublime continuum. Some of the topics are hard and they generate resistance. So we need to convince ourselves. I wouldn't say convince yourself. We need to find ways to see why it is good to study those topics. Like, for example, you hear about this topic, sublime continuum, which is a really complicated text, the unsurpassed continuum. So you want to, first of all, have a rough knowledge of what does it speak about. The subject matter is, let's say, part of the subject matter is Buddha nature, but there are also other topics, but let's say that the topic is Buddha nature. What's the purpose? To realize our own Buddha nature. So you think to yourself, if I want to realize my own Buddha nature, what's the underlying purpose? So that I would be able to use my Buddha nature to become enlightened. So, well, I can become enlightened if I realize that I have a Buddha nature and also realize the way to use my Buddha nature. If I study this text, the unsurpassed continuum.
If I study this text, the unsurpassed continuum, I'll know how to identify
Yeah.
the aspects of the.
If I study this text on unsurpassed continuum, I will be able to identify that. If I'm saying A plus B plus C for 3 eons, D, enlightenment. Yeah. I hope that D does not mean dejected. You feel dejected by the state of enlightenment. Anyway, so I'm wondering if that helps if we apply it like that.
Yeah, I like it. I like it very much.
All right.
I like it.
I'll try to maybe in the review sessions, review questions, to put a few examples of either verses, text, and so forth for you guys to just drill it at home and try to come up with a concise explanation.
Yeshua's example of the refuge and Bodhisattva prayer was very straightforward and accessible. And because we're reciting that every day, we can go through it all the time.
Yeah.
Those 4 points in a very practical way.
Yeah. We can also, so far we spoke about the underlying purpose to lead us to the state of enlightenment. So in some sense, it's like a default answer. What's the purpose of a certain teaching? What's the underlying purpose of a certain teaching? To lead us to the state of enlightenment. But you can also say, for example, what's the underlying purpose? How do you apply those 4 points to the explanation to Lama Tsongkhapa's explanation of the 10 paths of actions in the Lamrim Chemo? So in the 10 paths of actions, Lama Tsongkhapa explains the 10 non-virtues. So the topic or the subject matter, what it teaches are the 10 non-virtues. The purpose is to understand the things that we need to give up. The underlying purpose, you can say, so that we can maintain pure ethics, right? Pure ethical discipline. So you can maintain pure ethical discipline if you understand what the 10 non-virtues are through that text that expresses the 10 paths of actions. All right. It is, Olaf is saying it is a good scholastic tool, difficult for common use. Yeah, it's more kind of the explanation that you get when you do a more in-depth study rather than just looking at a topic on the surface. It's something that you use for bigger texts, bigger topics. All right. So we picked up today from verse 103, I think. So we spoke about how it is unreasonable to be furious with that which hinders merit, which means that to it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah. No, it's okay. So it is unreasonable to be furious with that which hinders merit. So it is unreasonable to be furious with that which hinders one's practice. And also, we spoke yesterday about what happens if someone kind of interrupts or create some interruptions in a practice. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be something that is small. So here Shantideva says it's unreasonable to be furious with that which hinders that. So yesterday we spoke about how it is unreasonable to be furious because merit has been hindered. So if you look at those 3 points, it is unreasonable to be furious because merit has been hindered. It is not a hindrance to merit, and reflecting on it is an object one ought to have respect for. You can create in your mind a summary of why it is unreasonable to get angry, to become agitated when you find that your practice is being interrupted. So the first one says you should abide by the supreme austerity. We spoke about it yesterday. We spoke about if you want to practice virtue, patience is a supreme virtue. It's such a powerful virtue. So it doesn't make sense to get angry with that. So if you want to practice, there you go. You have a practice of patience. That's the first point that Shantideva is making. So he says, saying this hinders my merit, with him too it is incorrect to be angry. If there is no fortitude similar to patience, should I not abide in that? Right? So if you want to have a spiritual practice, there you go, patience. Then Shantideva also says that, and if you get angry, it's not their problem. It's not the problem of the person that is interrupting your practice. It's your problem because you're becoming angry. So if you say that my merit has been interrupted, my virtue is interrupted, well, it is your anger that interrupts it. So of course, it's not that the other person doesn't have anything to do with it. The act is a condition. But the main cause is in your own mind, anger. So a person can be a condition for your interruption of merit, but the main cause for the interruption of merit is your own mind, the mind of anger. So that's the first thing that Shantideva says. It's not somebody else's problem, it's your problem. That's to begin with. And then he says, where do you get that idea that it is a hindrance to merit? Because it's not a hindrance to merit at all. So in verse 104, it says, if without it something does not occur, and if with it it does come to be, then since this would be the cause of it, how can I call it a hindrance? It's quite cryptic, this verse, isn't it? If without it something does not occur, what does it mean? Sorry? Without? Yeah, so how do you apply this to the meaning?
That if the merit won't arise if there isn't some hamdua.
So the merit will not arise if there is no hamdua. Yeah. So patience will not arise without a hamdua. So without a hamdua, it will not arise, patience. And if with it, a hamdua, it does come to be, patience does come to be. Then since this would be the cause of it, how can I call it a hindrance? A beggar who came at a time was not a hindrance to generosity, and I cannot say that those who give ordination are hindrances to becoming ordained. So, as Geshe said in the morning session, we don't practice patience with our spiritual teachers. We don't practice patience with the Buddha. On this, I mean, it could be the case that when you find yourself in close proximity, kind of with your spiritual teacher over time, every day for a few hours, it's not that your mind would always be peaceful. It could be the case that you get agitated at some point. It could be that the point that falls in you and become really confronting, and you become angry or you become upset.
I think this is open as an example one time with, just like contact, he was with me from a young age, and it make him a cup of tea every morning, which Geshe-la never drank. So well, what's the point? I'm not going to make tea. So he didn't make tea. And then he got scolded.
For not making tea, but Geshe-la Kunchok?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll repeat this story. So Chokila is saying that Geshe Sopa told that he was making tea every day to Geshe-la Kunchok in the morning, bringing in the cup of tea. But Lama Kunchok was not drinking his tea. Was only into water? Maybe.
I don't know.
Anyway, he was not drinking it. So then one day he thought to himself, well, anyway, he's not drinking it, so why bother? So he didn't make tea, and then he was scolded. I remember working with Geshe Jamin in the early years, and he would say something, and I didn't get it, and he would say it again, and I didn't get it, and I say, could you say it in a different way? And would say it in a different way. And then if I had problems, he would say, anyway, you wouldn't understand that, you wouldn't get it. Oh, it was so annoying, let me tell you. No, then he used to really kind of, and then at some point, it just gave up. Kind of, he said something and said, if I used to say what, and he said, anyway, you're not going to get it. Oh my God, that was so annoying. So what I'm saying is that it's not that you will never get angry with your spiritual teacher, but it's also less likely to happen. Right? So it's less likely to happen. You're not going to get annoyed with the Buddha. I mean, to begin with, the Buddha is not here. But I suppose that with us, we're not going to get angry with the Buddha. But we do get angry with those who are close to us. So without those who are close to us, and it's sometimes those who are close to our heart that give us what we don't want to hear, what we don't want to experience. No. So we get angry with them. So without them, there's no way that we could be patient, that we could practice patience. So they are actually giving us the conditions for the practice of patience. And because, as Geshe Langri Tampa said, I will see that person as my precious guru. So if we are summarizing the outline is here, then Shantideva says here, it's not a hindrance to merit. It's actually, we can change it. We can say that actually the person is a condition for merit. What are you on about? They're not interrupting you. They are a condition for your accumulation of merit. So it's not a hindrance. Point C, Shantideva says, even more than that, you can reflect upon that as an object you have to respect. Not only respect, you have to be happy with that person. You need to give them a hug for creating obstacles for you, obstacles for your merit, because this is a training for patience. So the first verse speaks of the rarity of this special field, that it's less common to come across someone that annoys you, that harms you, than to come across someone that someone who helps you or that benefits you. So, as Geshe said, if you are harming, if you desist from harming others, if you reduce your harmful intention towards others or your harmful actions, it is also likely that you will experience less and less harm. So if you have less harm, you have less opportunities to practice patience. So in that sense, if you don't have so many opportunities for practice patience, it's like any time that you come across an opportunity for practicing patience, you should think, excellent, I have an opportunity to practice patience. It reminds me that I was, during the break a couple of weeks ago, as I was doing something on YouTube, I came across a channel of an American couple that are training parrots. They got completely addicted to it, bird streaks. They have like galas and macaws and lorikeets and lots of others, toucans and others. And part of the training is capturing. So if they want to train the parrot to do a particular thing, sometimes you have to capture the behavior. So you wait and wait and wait. And as soon as they, for example, raise the leg, and this is what you want to capture, you give them a treat. And then the parrot needs to work out what's the behavior that is doing the capturing that will reward them with a treat. So when I was reading this verse at home, I thought to myself, it's just like what we do with the practice of patience. We want to capture. We're looking for opportunities for practicing patience. So when we train our mind with patience, we're sitting in wait, so to speak, for someone that is going to rub us the wrong way. I mean, it's not that we're lying in wait for that, but we need to be prepared. Yeah.
You might be.
Yeah. No, let me tell you, I'm not. But it seems that when you think about what Shantideva is saying here, it's almost like actually wanting to have that. If it's so rare, then you want someone to push your buttons. I mean, we don't want that normally, but if you change your attitudes towards that, if it's such a precious opportunity and rare opportunity when someone rubs us the wrong way, then rather than saying that I don't want that because it hinders my merit, we should think that I'm going to capture that. I'm going to use that for my practice of patience. So he says, there are indeed beggars in this world. I mean, particularly for those of you who've been to India, I've been to Bodh Gaya, for example, I remember living in Dharamsala at McLeodganj, Kam Sakadawa. You have thousands of beggars that take trains from all over India because they know that on Sakadawa, people living in the area are going to be very generous. So you have the Kora around His Honesty Dalai Lama's temple, and honestly, there are thousands of people living in makeshift tents. It's quite confronting. It's hot, it's noisy, it's dirty, and so forth. So there are many beggars in this world, but rare are those who inflict harm. If I've not harmed others, few beings will cause me harm. So even more so, when you practice loving kindness and compassion, generosity, and so forth, you avoid the 10 virtues, and you harm others to a lesser and lesser degree, it is likely that you will experience less harm. So when you do encounter an opportunity for patience, capture it like a parrot. So
I don't think the parrot's being patient, I think the people observing it.
yeah. Well, capturing it like capturing a behavior of a parrot. Anyway, it's really cute. You should check it out, Burst Tricks. So then the reasonable to take joy in that, and the reasonable to adopt the attitude that it is beneficial, verses 107 and 108, I think that it's quite clear. Therefore, just like a treasure appearing in my house idly without me accomplishing it, how great it would be, how nice it would be if like all of a sudden you would find
when that treasure's
like a suitcase full of green dollars under your bed. All of a sudden you find it. So well, it's hard to put that on the bed. But anyway, I should be happy at the enemy, for he assists me in my deeds of enlightenment. Because I'm able to practice this, it is worthy of being the very first to be given the fruit of my practice. For in this way, he is the cause of it. So what does it mean that he is worthy of being the very first to be given the fruit of my patience?
Well, they're worthy of being given the very fruit of your patience because they really prod your self-cherishing mind so that anger arises. And we know that anger is the quickest path to the lower realms. So that's why, and in practicing patience, you only said that early on, patience is a supreme virtue. You gain a lot of merit from practicing patience. So that's why we need to really put it way up there.
So why is patience a supreme virtue?
What is what?
Patience, a supreme virtue.
Because it counteracts our tendency to anger, big time.
because it
And self-cherishing.
counteracts our tendency to anger big time and self-cherishing. At the beginning of this chapter, Shantideva says there is no negativity as big as anger and no fortitude as great as patience, right? So since they're opposite to each other, if anger is so bad, patience is going to be spot on. So I think that you can say that he's worthy of being the very first to be given the fruit of my patience. The fruit of my patience could be, for example, my undisturbed mind. Now, if I respond to someone harming me with still being kind to that person, not getting angry, but still being kind to that person, you can say that they experience the result of my patience. But you can also say that even more than that, I become more determined to practice whatever it takes in order to become enlightened for the sake of that person, for the sake of the harm doer.
Yeah, because what I was thinking during the teaching this morning was about, the Buddha gives equal regard to the harm doer, the helper, and the one that's neither. So if I want to become a Buddha, I have to hold him with the same degree of respect.
Yeah, the Buddha has a sense of concern for that person,
Yeah.
just as Buddha has concern for us. So, if the Buddha has an equal sense of respect to that person, so should we. All right, so that's...
Well, and then, it just also heralds back to the point that was made earlier on, that it is just such a supreme virtue that it, just the people who really give us an opportunity to practice patience big time are really valuable people to have in your life. And it really does help you to view it that way. It's like I can do it. This is such a profound teaching. I remember hearing it ages ago, and it really did have a very profound effect on just my whole life, on just the way you are with everybody. If somebody pushes your buttons, here it is, and already you're practicing you're practicing a spiritual path rather than just a mundane path of being sucked in and yada yada yada. In some ways, I find it harder to practice patience. It's trickier to practice patience with like within a community like this one. We all know each other. We all know each other's foibles and etc. etc. That we forget that we are prime opportunities for each other to practice patience, rather than just going a bit.
Rather than wanting to obliterate them from the face of the earth.
That's right. Well, I guess just flip them off too. Rather than practicing patience, you can become a bit too familiar, I think, with people's foibles. And just flick them off rather than seeing them as an opportunity to practice patience, as opposed to that very person that's really in your face and gives you a hard time and yada yada, and who doesn't even need to be in your life anymore. You know what I mean? You just don't even waste the time.
So Olaf is saying, I thought jealousy was the biggest affliction. So we referred yesterday to Devadatta's story. Well, I guess that in different occasions or in different situations, in different contexts, each one of those afflictions can become the biggest. So in that story that I referred to yesterday, and I didn't bring the book, I could have read the story, it wasn't really long. We said that jealousy was the biggest, but still from the point of view of destroying roots of virtues accumulated over eons as caused by anger, then since anger is the only one that is said, anger and wrong views, I think. Also wrong views are said to destroy roots of virtue. Since both of them destroy roots of virtue in a way that is more powerful than other afflictions, in this context, they are considered to be the worst.
my understanding is that jealousy was the biggest affliction because of the anger that arises from it. I think the most profound anger can arise from jealousy,
So you said that the most profound anger can arise from jealousy.
from a jealous mind.
Mhm. Yeah, when you look at mind and mental factors, then jealousy is affiliated both with hostility but also with attachment.
Yeah.
But
You want-
yeah.
You're craving.
Yes, yes,
But it's also affiliated with hostility.
hostility.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So
Yes, yes, which is that self-grasping. So yes, it is, that's right. Hostility, self-grasping, and attachment. So it is a result, it's a byproduct of both those two root causes.
root.
And
yeah.
anger and attachment.
Mm.
Jealousy is a byproduct of both those two.
It's a byproduct of both anger and attachment.
Yes.
Okay. So then we spoke of the benefit of a harm doer for oneself are great because they give you the opportunity to practice that great virtue because it is very rare and because they help you. So someone said that, but if they help me, they have to have the intention to help me. Also, they don't really help me, they harm me. So I disagree with them helping me. They're actually harming me. They're interrupting me in my practice. So they're not helping me. They're interrupting my meditation practice because they create noise outside. And anyway, when they create noise outside, they don't think that I'm creating this noise in order to help me in my meditation. So Shantideva says that those arguments are incorrect. Right? So it does not cease to be an object worthy of offerings, which means someone that you respect just because they don't have the attitude of benefiting you, that it benefits oneself. And also, it does not cease to be an object that you respect just because they have an attitude that is harmful to you. So did you understand the example that Geshe gave in this session, in the morning session, with the Dhamma Jewel not having the intention to help us? Was it clear?
Well, it's more like the thought doesn't arise in the mind of the Dharma because the Dharma will podcast. It's not like from its own side. We've had that a few times to think, that something doesn't have a thought arising from its side, but from your side, if you pick up the Dharma, it's going to help you so that it's similar in that way. Like it's how we respond.
It doesn't jump out at you and say, let me help you.
Well, particularly when you think of the Dhamma Jewel, there are two things in the Dhamma Jewel. There are true cessations and true paths. True cessations are permanent. They are uncompounded. They are not created by cause and conditions. Since true cessations are uncompounded, they're permanent, they don't have, it's not a mind. Also, they don't have a mind. They don't think, I shall help you. But if you think of what will help us are true cessations, because true cessations would be the complete elimination of our afflictions, the causes of suffering. If there's something that can bring us ultimate benefit, ultimate help, it would be just the cessation of afflictions in our mind stream. So that cessation doesn't have the intention to help us, but it still helps us. You can just as well, if you simplify it and use other examples, you can say that my clothes protect me from cold, but I don't have the intention to do that. My food protects me from hunger. It doesn't have the intention to do that. The food provides me with nutrients, but it doesn't have the intention to do that. So just to say that something doesn't help me because they don't have the intention to help me is not valid, because we can come up with many examples of things that do not have the intention to help us, but they're still useful.
I get a little bit confused by the term uncompounded phenomena in this situation. I'm perhaps quite clear exactly.
So uncompounded phenomena are phenomena which are produced by causes and conditions. So there are different, so when you look at phenomenology, which means different groups of phenomena, there is one group of impermanent phenomena which are given different names, that they have different synonyms. So impermanent phenomena, the impermanence, functioning things, compounded phenomena, products, all of them are synonyms in a sense that we use different terms, but they mean the same thing. So whatever is impermanent is changing from moment to moment.
So what were the three that were synonyms?
So I mentioned four. So impermanence, functioning things, products, and compounded phenomena. So the same things, but are explained from different perspectives. So something is impermanent because it changes from moment to moment. Something is compounded because it is produced by causes and conditions, or it arises and depends upon causes and conditions. Something is a product because it is produced by cause and conditions. And it is a functioning thing because it is able to perform a function. So that is, they have the same meaning, but we use different terms and different definitions. So similarly, the opposite of them. So uncompounded phenomena and permanent phenomena, non-products, things that don't function, they're synonyms, but they're explained differently. Still, they mean the same thing. So something that is uncompounded means that it doesn't arise and depends upon cause and conditions. It doesn't change from moment to moment. It is not produced. It doesn't have any ability to perform a function. So this is an uncompounded phenomenon. So true cessations are uncompounded in that, at least from the viewpoint of the middle way consequent school of thought, true cessations are emptinesses, emptiness of the mind. So how does it work? You first of all attain an Arya path, the perceptual realization of emptiness. That's the actual antidote to ignorance, right? A perceptual realization of emptiness is the actual antidote to ignorance. And when ignorance has been ceased, what you have attained is a true cessation, right? So ignorance has ceased, you have a true cessation. So what is the true cessation? It is the emptiness of the mind in which ignorance has been ceased. There's an emptiness of the mind in which ignorance has been ceased by the application of an actual antidote. So that emptiness is uncompounded. It is uncompounded because emptiness is permanent. It is not produced by cause and conditions. It doesn't have the ability to perform function. Emptiness does not change to moment, does not arise from cause and conditions. It is uncompounded. So as an uncompounded phenomenon, it doesn't think, emptiness doesn't think, I will help you. True cessations don't think, I will protect you from afflictions. They're just permanent phenomenon. They're the emptiness of the mind, but they still help us. For us, it's a consummate refuge.
And the Dharma, I mean, that you're saying that this is where this whole thing, the Dharma is an uncompounded phenomenon.
Well, we say that the Dhamma jewel is uncompounded in that it consists of two things, true paths and true cessations. True paths are consciousnesses, particular type of consciousnesses, so they do change from moment to moment, but true cessations are uncompounded. Since the Dhamma jewel has those two parts, true paths and true cessations, if you wonder, what about the Dhamma jewel itself? It has one thing that is uncompounded and another thing that is compounded. How do I decide if the Dhamma jewel is compounded or uncompounded? Well, if something consists of both permanent and impermanent, you can say that therefore it is permanent. It's more like an arbitrary rule, but it also has a reasoning behind it.
How does an uncompounded phenomena differ from the Samkhya's, the
Samkhya's, yeah.
Samkhya's point of view?
How does uncompounded phenomena differ from the Samkhya's? Well,
Who believe in permanent object, uncompounded phenomena? They don't say that term, but they say that things are changing.
so we in the Buddhist tradition, we accept that there are uncompounded phenomena. There are different things which are uncompounded. Emptiness is uncompounded. There is something that we call uncompounded space, which is just a mere absence of contact and tangibility. But we can also come up with more simple examples. Like, for example, at the moment, there is no koala in the room. There is an absence of koala in the room. The absence of koala does not change from moment to moment. Well, if a koala comes into the room, it will go out of existence, but it's not that it is changing from moment to moment, in that there is like 30% koala in the room, or 10%, or just 1%. It is either there or not there. And so long as it exists, it does not change from moment to moment. So there are things that are uncompounded. We accept them in the Buddhist tradition, they are uncompounded. The Samkhyas also assert, they would probably also say that the uncompounded is that which is not produced by cause and conditions. I don't know if this is what they say, but let's say that they say that uncompounded is that which is not produced by cause and conditions.
Yes, I think they do.
Yeah. But then what they say is that there is something that is called the principle, which is uncompounded, and yet it is the creator of everything around us. So we say that you cannot have something that is uncompounded, permanent, doesn't depend upon cause and conditions, to be a cause of something. If it is permanent, it cannot be a cause. All right, let's leave it here for now. Due to this virtue, may I quickly become a Guru Buddha, and lead all transmigratory beings without exception to that state. May the precious Supreme Bodhicitta not yet born arise. May that arisen not decline, but increase more and more. In this land encircled by snowy mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. You uphold the abused mode of way, who serves the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers, honoring the three jewels. Protection of myself and others, your disciples, please live long.
Thank you. Thanks for you.
What book would I go to get up to speed with what we covered in the last part of this session?
With what?
What would you recommend I read up on to try and get up to speed with this discussion on true path, true cessation?
Well, you have in Kindness, Clarity, and Insight by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. He gives a presentation of the four truths.
Which was that?
Kindness, Clarity, and Insight.
Kindness,
Clarity and Insight.
clarity, and
It's easy to find online. And it's
Yeah.
cheers. Thanks.
No worries.